Talk Today is brought to you by Fidelity Bank. For all your banking needs, visit fidelitygroup.com. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. It really is a wonderful pleasure today to be able to not just focus on something that is a passion for many of us, but an opportunity to highlight something that's going to be happening on the BRAC. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email Talk Today at candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. And it's a pleasure to welcome to our studio today both Mr. Chris Borden and Mr. Vince Ramjeet. And as they've turned it and tell us more about it, it's going to happen in the BRAC between the 19th and the 21st. Well, the annual BRAC Surf and Turf, I like the way you put it, man. Makes you hunger for more. Chris, it's a pleasure, man. Anytime you get a chance to be near the water, it's always better.
Yeah, good to be back, Sterling. Like I was saying when we walked in, it's been too long. I love this studio. So thanks for having us back and giving us the chance to talk about the event.
Well, it's important. I think when we look at the whole idea of the Cayman Watercraft Association in particular, and we see what was, well, my perspective, some say, boy, you must be older than you look. Almost as handsome as I look too. What was a passion before, Vince, for someone else? Just a little hobby has morphed into something. It was first 2 bikes and then 20 and then 2,000. Almost.
Yeah, well, there you go. And again, like Chris said, thanks for having us. Sorry. Well, I'm not a long-term jet ski enthusiast. Mr. Don Patrick, who is the grandfather of it all, and a couple of other team managers. My son started racing in 2000, and then we started looking into something that would make the jet ski racing scene a bit more competitive and fair, and what is paramount to us is actually the safety of the riders. So those are the kind of things that kind of started the trend and morphed into what is now SIWA.
Yeah, and you mentioned Don Patrick, and I think I wouldn't want to call him grandfather because I'm going to have to see him later and he might say, hey, really not much difference in age. So, but he is, and I think back, what was about 88 or 9, maybe earlier, the first bikes that we had, we were the first bikes, and it's to see what they were then and what they are now.
They've come a long way.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we're inviting folks to come over to the BRAC and see, like you say, back then they were probably, 45, 50 miles an hour. See what a jet ski looks like at 80 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And right up in your face, not, Jet Around Cayman is a great race, but it's more a racer's race than it is a spectator's race. The race you're putting on in the BRAC is going to be right in front of you, right in your face. You're going to hear them rev, see them move, and you get your heart thumping and feeling the waves as they cross you.
And if you happen to be someone who either watch it on TV or just flicking through and stop for a few seconds, but it's different when you're in person. You're on the beach and you're watching it.
And it's not just that you're there, watching the race, but you're physically there with all of the riders and you see them getting ready and what goes into the preparation and not to mention all the other stuff that's going to be going on there on the day. So I guess, we can give a little bit of background on the event. Yes. So it's BRAC Surf and Turf. We call it that specifically because of the surf aspect, obviously the jet ski racing. And the turf aspect is going to be the motorbikes. Matter of fact, I actually just got back from the BRAC this morning. we tried something new this year. No, we do not ride the jet skis over to Cayman back. We ship them over.
Next time.
In the past, we sent them over on flat racks and containers, and this time we came up with a new idea. We shout out to Thompson Shipping and their whole crew. We put them on their aggregate barge, which of course goes over empty, and so I think we were all a little bit nervous how it would work. I think I left the port at about midnight Tuesday night. They were all secured and insured, and so we got over there. It was really exciting to get in there yesterday and see them make it over completely safe. And I want to thank Mr. Sheldon Scott and the Cayman Brac authorities for being there and helping us get them off. So they're now sitting at the port, safe and sound, until the race comes up. And that was 5, so another few more to go over and a few more motorbikes. So we're putting in a lot of work behind the scenes to make this event happen.
So and to interject there, I'd like to reach out to Miss Joellen from Thompson Shipping. We had her pulling her hair out, so we apologize.
Miss Joellen, you have been the best. We've had a lot of phone calls over the last few days, but
she's amazing.
Yeah, really, really great woman, great company. They've been a huge supporter of this event.
And the thing, as I listen to you, you're looking at the aspect of the bikes on the water and the bikes on the land. And
correct.
A weekend of festivities on the Brac, hopefully here on Grand Cayman, we can come over. And, it's going to be the annual event.
It is. This is the 3rd annual, and, it has grown, and we are looking to grow it more. It's a great event for the Brac for a lot of reasons. One, and ultimately, it contributes to the Brac economy, right? So Cayman Airways flights are all booked up. Somebody called Carib Sands this morning, they can't get a room. The hotel rooms are filled. Cars are rented. Local businesses are supported. And above and beyond the economic aspect it's just a great event. It's family friendly. It's something for everybody to do. And we hope not only that people who love the Brac go over to visit, but if you've never been to the Brac before, if you've lived here your whole life and never seen the Sister Islands, or you haven't been in a long time, like yourself.
Yeah, or you go in, work, and come out.
Exactly. So, this is a chance to get over and really experience what the Sister Islands have to offer. Come check it out. And
with the overall schedule, it's a weekend event, not just Saturday and Sunday. Friday night, we're going to have a meeting party somewhere after the riders have all been registered, and we'll go over to
once the business is
once business taken care of, we'll be over at La Esperanza. All the riders will be there, so it's an opportunity to meet and greet the riders, and not only the jet ski racers but the bike riders as well. Then we'll race on Saturday on the jet skis, but we'll have a static display of all of the motorcycles there. Once that is done, we'll wrap up with our award ceremony, which is an official event, but we're going to keep it all, tight and neat. We'll be moving back to Esperanza for what they call a rollout, which is a light display of the bikes. But before we leave the race, there's going to be also a burnout competition of the bikes, so people get to see how powerful and how much smoke they can make.
I think this is, when you were talking earlier about Don Patrick as the grandfather, I think I'm going to coin that for him now next time I see him. Man.
I'll call him Gramps.
Yeah, Gramps from now on. Let's see. I'm not quite sure how
JC
would like that. But the idea that you're talking the bikes doing 40 miles an hour. Now, Don was able to push some of them. Initially, there were a couple of Sea-Doos. For some reason, we could bore them out and make a couple of changes, even with the pitch of the propeller. But we were getting them to 65, 70, 72, right? Not for long, because they just couldn't. They couldn't sustain. They couldn't sustain. The heads couldn't sustain it.
Yeah.
But look at what has happened, and as more and more of us become interested in this, the potential careers for the team managers, the sports tourism aspect of this, the international competition.
I'm glad you mentioned the international aspect. Actually, this year we have Dennis Mack and his wife, who are both world champion jet ski riders. Vince's son, Vanjay, races with them when he's in the U.S. They're coming down. They're not going to be racing this year, but they're coming to check out the event and I guess to see how well we are putting on these types of races here in Cayman, and also to encourage the younger riders. There's no feeling like being a new kid in a sport and getting to talk to one of the best, right? But with the view to them taking that word back to the other international guys and saying, hey, this is a really cool event and they're going to be doing it every year. So, why don't we put together a team and come down and spend a weekend in the BRAC and compete with these guys?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest selling point with inviting him over is he's going to come down and they're going to take it back. They're currently doing the Pro Watercross National Series, which takes them all around the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
So far, they've done 3 races, and the last one was in South Padre in Texas. This weekend they're going to be in Racine, Wisconsin, and then they'll come to the BRAC, and then the following weekend they got to go back to Atlanta to race again. So we're expecting it to be a far outreach with them promoting it for us. And next year, hopefully, we'll see nothing less than 5 international riders.
Yeah, man. I mean, some see when they just on Lake Havasu, for instance, in the States. If we can do that aspect here, and as you were sharing, I've been some thinking to us who may, it's next weekend, not this weekend coming, but next weekend, we may already have plans. We may say it's too short notice.
Yeah.
For some of us, we need a year notice and then.
Well, that's fine. It'll be happening every year.
Yeah. We make a plan for it now. Next year, this could be part of, our family vacation. This could be part of that, maybe mini vacation that we take. As you shared, Chris.
Yeah, and to that point, we've actually scheduled it on this weekend, every July, somewhere between the 19th and the 25th. So that fits in with, maybe we were a bit remiss to not mention, but it's a partnership with CETA, Sister Island Tourist Association. So it's CETA, BRAC Surf and Turf. So we've gone and tested it for the 2 years. Find out what weekend we best fit. So it's going to actually be every year, July.
So mark your calendar.
Mark your calendar. School is just about finished for some. Some families are not quite sure what they're doing for the summers as yet. And as they're thinking about it, start thinking about it. The BRAC is right there.
Yes.
Take him whenever it's over. Take your cat boat over. Just go over.
Yeah, we're not here to advertise Airbnb, but now that all the hotel rooms are pretty much filled up, people can look up on the Airbnb, and they have some beautiful homes over there that they can go, and that'll be perfect for a family.
Yeah, absolutely. We were able to, in terms of our officials and our marshals and stuff that are going over, we got 2 beautiful cottages through Airbnb, and the BRAC has a lot of beautiful homes, and you'll find that it's very, very reasonable. So like you said, if you want the pleasure of having a home for the weekend, if you're taking a big group or a family, that's the way to go, because Carib Sands is booked out.
So next Friday evening to Monday, basically, is the whole weekend if you can. 2 days if you only got Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, correct.
Grab a flight to Cameron Airways. I wouldn't say swim yet, but take a cat boat if the flights are full. Maybe Cal can put on an extra section. Huh?
Yeah.
But tell us more about it. So Saturday is the race for.
So that starts. The racing officially kicks off at 12 midday on the Saturday, and will be roughly till about 4. And like Vincent mentioned, the award ceremony will be held on site. So that is a full day event. Like he mentioned, the bikes will be on static display, and they'll also be doing a burnout competition. And then the Sunday is going to be the motorbike ride out, which I think is one of the coolest aspects, because not only are we sending motorcycles from here, but there's some beautiful bikes in the BRAC. And the 2 groups, Cayman riders and BRAC riders, come together, and they ride the whole island. RCIPS endorsed, by the way. We have had discussions where this is, like Vincent said, safety is our number 1 priority. But they will be stopping at some of the caves and some of the sponsors' locations and getting some cool pictures. And I think this is it's a really cool opportunity to do something like motorbike riding in a safe and in a wholesome way, because I know it gets a pretty bad stigma sometimes. But we have, like I said, gone out of our way to discuss this with the RCIPS and make sure that we do it properly and safely.
Last week we actually had a BRAC coordination meeting, and RCIPS was there, EMS was there, what are they known now as
Customs and Border
CBC,
Control, Port Authority, everybody was there.
So we had all of the officials or officiating entities that's going to be supporting us there in that meeting. So they had an opportunity to ask us all the questions they needed. If we couldn't answer them, we brought them back with us. and that information has been fed through to them. So at this point in time, I'll say all the ducks are in a row. We're just waiting for them to wobble on.
I like you said
That's a good one.
wobble on. But it's fun because it's provided another avenue, not just for the local populace to experience it, but it is an element of attraction for the international market as well.
Absolutely. Safety is the number one goal, and I think if we have one goal right under that is to bring awareness to Cayman Brac and what a beautiful tourism product that it has to offer.
Well, I'm hopeful that it's not just an annual event. I mean, 3 under your belt, but more importantly, that as a calendar for us as a
it will
destination.
grow, and I guess these are all plans, but we can share them with you. We are really looking to turn this into a Cayman Brac sports weekend. We have been discussing with some other potential sponsors and groups, and there's already the surf and turf aspects to it, the skis and the bikes, but ultimately we'd like to, Cayman has a huge cycling group now. The possibility of maybe taking some bicycles over there. Cayman Brac's got beautiful roads. Maybe the possibility of a 10K and different fundraising opportunities. But like I said, the possibilities are endless, and we just want to turn this into a huge sports weekend that is enjoyable for everybody to be over there. And I think Cayman Brac, I would be confident to say, has the best sports facilities per capita in the world.
Yeah, man, without question. Great investment by the government.
Yeah, absolutely.
Vince, when you look at the Brac and you see almost the idyllic pace and nature of the place, to have this kind of event, whether it's a bike, whether it's a bicycle, just to be able to be on the roads, but on the waters nearby too, man.
Yeah, to offer Brac or something. I mean, for me, and Chris as well. I'm going back home, but like Andy Martin saying, going back to the Brac again. So it's an honor to be able to put on something to offer the Brac folks, and an alternative to just the regular run-of-the-mill stuff.
Well, as I listen to you, I think too often we look internationally at things and don't even see that thing that is right in front of us. This may, cause some of us to think again.
Yeah, well, I mean, you think about going on vacation and, you look way out of the Caribbean. I'm going to go to Miami or I'm going to go to New York, and, it's expensive and it's a pain in the butt to get there. And you can go over to Cayman Brac in 30 minutes. I go over to Little Cayman probably once a month as just escape from the hustle and bustle here. But like you said, it's right there in your face, and it's so easy and you have access to it. And I think many people kind of glance over that.
Well, I'm hope, and I say this, and if it's considered to be a slight, not a great apology, but as a country, as a government, as private sector, as airlift, as boats, as a means of transport, do we make it accessible and affordable for us as well? So it doesn't become this thing that it is. Because for some of us, we think, it's hard. It's actually easier.
Yeah.
Going through the airport is easier. Cayman Airways flight is, it's pleasant. It's just there.
Yep.
You move through the airports the airport on the Brac.
I always go to grab my passport when I'm going. I think I don't even need it.
You see,
well, getting back to the event, the only criticism that we get from the Brac folks are, so why can't you have it more than one time a year? And we would love to, but logistics right now aren't there for us to be able to just take stuff over to Brac as and when.
That's what I'm saying. Accessibility, it is challenging at times.
No, it does take a fair amount of work to put it on, but it's doable.
It's doable, but you have to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, and it's one of the stop on our annual series. It's not just the only race we have for the year. Whereas, some promoters just have one race a year, and that's it. The National Championship Series actually comprises of 5 races per year. Lately, we've only been able to pull on 3 to include the Brac and include another race that's outside of the National Championship Series. That's a Marco Rankin race, which we typically host up at Moritz, but we've been made to understand that we're not in a water sports zone, so we've kind of been illegal. So hopefully, we can find the right people.
Seagrass, but anyway, we'll leave that.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can find the right people to say, we need this, so let's do it. But
but as I listen to you, and that's why I would say about accessibility, because sometimes we don't appreciate the impediments, the little things that we put in play that don't add to safety, don't add to value. It just makes it that much more cumbersome. And if a family can hop a flight to the BRAC and spend a week or a weekend, and it's, when they do, they'll always do it.
Well, I think going forward, if the numbers are there, we can convince Cal to put on another or a flight just for that.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, it has to be cost effective for them. They don't just put on flights just because of a flight.
Yeah, man. Well, planning, So those of us that can make it next weekend, Chris. And
Next
if
weekend.
not, put it in the calendar. A lot I'll notice we gotta offer you up now. Start promoting it. Come September and then back again in February, so that come July next year.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we can be there.
We know and we appreciate the opportunity to be on here to promote it. And one key takeaway is this is going to be an annual event. So if you can't make it this time, then start planning for next year.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. Any closing thoughts, Vince, Chris?
Well, like you guys have just been mentioning, it's extended out there. Anyone who wishes to come over, please join us. It's going to be an exciting race. We have some excited and anticipating racers, not only jet ski racers, but the guys who are riding out. Last year we only had, I think it's 8 motorcycles go over. This year we're in the region of 12 to 14. And the total overall was 32, so we're probably looking at about 50 bikes over there by the time. We only had 12 jet skis, and I think we're seeing somewhere in the region of 12 to 14, not including our Marshall bikes. And so it's going to be an exciting race. Weekend filled with great stuff, so please, whoever can make it, please join us.
Absolutely. And I just want to say, first of all, thank you to, this is just myself and Vincent, but there are other members of the SIWA team. I want to say thanks a lot, guys. You guys are a really awesome team. It takes a village to make something like this happen, so much appreciated to all of them. And also, of course, to our sponsors. We got to thank the Office of the Deputy Premier, the District Administration, Tourism and Transport Ministry, Ministry of Education, Youth, Sports, Agriculture and Lands. Those are huge sponsors of this event. To our platinum sponsor, Suzuki, Car City. To the other associations involved, to the BRAC Riders and Cayman Riders, SIWA and CETA. Our sponsors over in the BRAC, Carib Sands, Eats and Treats, BRAC Scuba Shack, McLeese Trucking, La Esperanza, Fast Signs, Cayman BRAC Beach Resort, Kirk Marine, Cayman Airways, BRAC Power and Light, Jet Photo, Rubis, Automotive Art. As you can see, it's quite a list. A lot of support for this event. Thank you very much to all of our sponsors. And again, thank you so much to Thompson Shipping. You guys have been amazing with making this happen. It literally would have been impossible without them. So thank you very much, guys.
This is the partnerships that we need, from the individual to the corporate, from the government to the private sector. And it's going to be beneficial for all of us. I can see potential for the mechanics, the team managers, the sports marketers, the attraction for the international competitive element. There's so much for this. And whether you like it or not, whether you're an enthusiast, whether you are a competitor, this is just something else to do, just like a weekend where you feel, it's not much. But this is fantastic, man. Well, guys, I'm hoping to get a chance to chat with you again before the event.
Absolutely. We will be back, and thank you for having us, Sterling. We really appreciate it. Always a pleasure to be here with you.
Well, it's my pleasure. And today, we talk about, Gramps' grandfather. How are you going to call him? We got to think about it.
I'm expecting a call from him in a few minutes.
So, Don Patrick, you've been christened as the grandfather.
You'll never forgive me.
No, but it is people like him, man. He has been amazing. And, from my mama backyard, the stuff he used to do on the bikes, to seeing him now progress, man. Oh, how he's grown up. Just a big boy. Well, listen, BRAC Surf and Turf next weekend. Chris, to you and Vince and the team at SIWA. Congrats, man. I'm glad to see that we have this on our calendars.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. To our listeners, let's come back with some open line. 1 o'clock. I want to share with you about in style and boxing, so stay tuned for Talk Today.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
CUC would like to invite all contractors and subcontractors to a free safety workshop on Friday, July 19th from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Marriott Beach Resort. Safety-focused topics include working in proximity to electrical lines, road work, confined spaces, with heights, personal protective equipment, and CUC's core program. To reserve your seat, contact Victoria Powery at 914-1105 or email vpowery@cuc.ky. Get up to date on CUC's safety protocols. Friday, July 19th. Call 914-1105 today.
British Caymanian Insurance is the proud sponsor of Radio Cayman's Noon News. British Caymanian Insurance, protecting you against loss of your home or property in case of accident liability. British Caymanian, protection, security like no other. Call them today at 949-8699 for more information.
Headlines.
With the latest headlines.
Headlines.
All the news when you want it. Tune in to Radio Cayman for hourly headlines of the day's top stories.
One of Cayman's bright and shining young stars.
Local, regional, international.
Headlines.
Turning to international news. Updates on the hour between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekdays. Radio Cayman News.
Headlines.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Always separate debris from household garbage after a hurricane hits. Debris includes roofing materials, downed tree branches, and metals. All items of debris must be placed in separate piles to the front of the property or at a side that is easily accessible to collection trucks. Debris must be placed in a location that will not cause obstruction to roadways or come in contact with electrical lines. For more post-hurricane waste management tips, visit the DEH website at www.deh.gov.ky.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. And to know that we live in this place, and to say for some of us that, we sort of hail from this land, it truly should be a genuine honor and a privilege. It's a pleasure for me to be able to help to promote, especially the things that are happening on the BRAC. So next weekend, not just our good friends and family in the BRAC, but for those of us here who can still, make time. I know our schedules are busy. I know sometimes our funds are taxed. There are a lot of things. And if you can't this year for whatever reason, hey, make a note next year for the annual, BRAC Surf and Turf. There are the jet skis, the watercraft racing. And if you haven't seen it, if you have a particular perspective on it, maybe this will be a chance for you to rethink from the view that internationally it's good for you to keep talking about sports tourism, but how much that's trickling into the local, economy and the individual that we know. We also see the opportunities for career development, for not just the industry, the commerce, but for that individual who may have some idea of a business venture. This could be supported, and given the global marketplace, who knows where this will take us. Equally, as we support this, the partnership between the Ministry for Tourism and the Ministry for Education and Sports, this is another chance for us to showcase the great talent that we have, the opportunities that we have. I'm excited to be a part of this, and glad that Chris and Vince both could come and chat. Next week, Thursday, God's willing, we'll have a few of them and some others join us to talk more about it. So it is next weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend on the BRAC, and it's going to be a weekend of fun and festivities. And if you like to see watercraft and motorbikes, this might just be up your alley. Good way to take the family over and unwind for a bit. Hey, let's have some open line. Have you share your thoughts with us if you have a perspective. There's a comment that you want to share. There's an issue that you think needs to be aired. And we would like to, offer you this chance now to share with us and recognize that as we look at the summer, and in particular, the busy sort of part of the planning that some of us are going through relative to, even though school has just, finished for some of us, we're thinking of, well, whether we're the teacher, whether we're the parent, or even as a pupil, we got to start back. For some, it's a transition. They're going to be starting high school or transferring to another school. For others, they've graduated and now they're going off to university. They're going to start working, perhaps. Maybe there'll be some consideration as to continuing education and getting certification and training in other areas. Very important time as the summers serve as that transition. But it also should serve for a time for us to be able to unwind and relax. Maybe spend a few extra hours outside playing, and especially if we live in a place like this. Fresh air, hopefully, will continue to champion and preserve their air quality. Perhaps we'll still respect our environment and ensure that it's clean. Perhaps we still respect our place and make sure that it's safe as people walk the beaches or the trails. Maybe they go into unexplored areas for them, that we don't have to worry about people being harmed in any way. Not things that should be taken for granted, but unfortunately, as some of you have shared. I want to share with you an incident that someone relayed to me that occurred. And I say incident deliberately, but to see what your thoughts are. Is this, it's no big deal, it's just an innocent thing, or it's more significant? So let me do my best to try to be as objective and paint in the picture. So we have our public beaches. We have our beaches, and there are some of us who will go. It is summer, and we're enjoying the outdoors. And the story goes that on the beach there are some young ladies who are enjoying their vacation. They're on the beach, whether they're sunbathing or playing in the surf or the sand, whatever it is that they're doing. And up walks let's call him a young gentleman, and he perhaps introduces himself. Perhaps he's being friendly. Now, there are some of us that are subtle and can subtly say, well, thanks, we're not really interested, and we'll take that hint and move on. There are others that are, shall we say, maybe a little bit more persistent. Perhaps we don't quite get the hint. Maybe we don't think that was meant for us. Maybe with a little bit more of a persistent nature, we could probably break that barrier, whatever the reason. But your thought is, first off, in an incident like that, where people are out enjoying themselves, someone comes up, presents himself, it's okay, it's midday, it's 2 o'clock, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it's not 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, it's not in some isolated place, but still relatively a beach where it isn't that crowded. What do you think when that happens? And what would you think that in this instance where these ladies perhaps were in their mind, approached by this fellow here in Grand Cayman, not on the sister islands, not in some other part of the world, but right here. How do you think they should respond? What do you think their reaction would have been? And would you believe that there's cause for them to be alarmed and concerned? What is it? Be interested to hear. We asked someone else about it as we heard the story. I want to share with you. Now, don't jump to any conclusions. I hope I didn't make any inferences. Nothing, as we understand, happened in relation to anybody being accosted or assaulted. But it was a presentation like that. So what is your view? And what do you think about those sorts of things occurring on our shores? 949-8037, 949-6990, or toll free with the kind compliments of Flow at 1-800-534-8255. There's some open line we got a chance to share with you. Again, it was a pleasure to speak both to Chris Borden and Vince Van G as they talk about the weekend following, not this weekend, but next weekend, over in the BRAC, the annual BRAC Surf and Turf, where the watercraft and the motorbikes will be in full sway. It's going to be a great weekend for the BRAC, but for the Cayman Islands as well. It is an open line, though. We take your calls and have you share your thoughts with us on any subject. And I referenced that scenario, that incident, only to ask your opinion in relation to whether you think that we are complacent when it comes to our safety, whether we are cognizant as to the perspective that some may have. Are we also conscious that there are those who travel here and are very much aware of things that have happened to them in other parts in their homeland and their other vacation destinations. They're also not just aware, but they're weary of some of the things that unfold. Maybe all the things that we read and hear and see and watch and listen to in the news, but equally the notion that perhaps as a country, do we need to ensure that our people who live and work here have a better understanding as to how their persona, their sort of demeanor needs to be ensured in keeping with an ethos of a hospitable, family-friendly destination. Let's pause and take a break, though. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Congratulations, it's a boy.
During the greatest events of your life, whether or not you have the right health insurance coverage should be the last thing on your mind. That's why at Fidelity Health, we are committed to helping you get matched with the right plan to suit you and your family. We offer a range of plans to suit your budget, plus access to a network of quality care throughout the Caribbean and the USA. You can relax and enjoy life's greatest moments when you are covered with Fidelity Health. Call us today at 949-7822 for a free quote.
Summertime is when Cayman Airways full of people are travel to Jamaica. If you're late for checking your flight, you will lose your seat. Remember now, check-in time for Cayman Airways flight is 2 hours before departure. Make sure you're not late.
Some of us have perfect skin, and some of us have trouble with acne, age spots, and sun-damaged skin. Protect your skin, reduce the effects of sun damage, and restore a healthy, glowing look with dermatology treatment at Beyond Basics Medical Day Spa. General, cosmetic, and surgical dermatologist services by Dr. Geronimo Jones include treatment of acne, keloids, eczema, hair and nail disorders, and skin complications from chronic sun damage. Dermatology treatments are covered by most insurance providers. Book your consult with Dr. Geronimo Jones at Beyond Basics today. Call 945-2737.
The Breeze Fusion is back Saturday, November 2nd.
Bigger and better.
Now featuring a 5K walk run and a 10K run for half marathon trainers. Join the fun and help raise funds for the Central Scranton Park and the NCVO. Save the date or register now at CaymanActive.com or at Radio Cayman Studios. Registration is only $15 if registered by September 30th. And all early registrants enter to win a Cayman Airways voucher. The Breeze Fusion 5K, 10K walk run. Saturday, November 2nd.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. It is open line 949-8037, 949-6990, or you can send us an email, talktoday@candw.ky. Or likewise, you can send us your thoughts on our WhatsApp, 925-3261. I invite you to share your thoughts with us as you so choose. A quick message sent through right after during the break, right after our comment in relation to the issue with the ladies on the beach in recent times and being approached by, as I termed him, a gentleman. So a fellow comes up to him and perhaps introduces himself and the like. And I'm curious, what do you think about that, and how is that to be perceived? Is that something that is happening often? Is it happening in a way that because of maybe things that have happened here and reported in the media, or things that are happening globally, that people are being more and more weary and they are becoming a bit reticent and tentative with their relationships, their introductions? Or is it that some of us are not as careful and considerate when we approach people that we're unfamiliar at the time? No. Your perspective. And the reason that we also ask is simply because it's seemingly not just an issue that people have where, say, in other destinations, for instance, we have this approach by people who are trying to maybe sell certain things from the legal to the illegal, from all sorts of trinkets and the like. But just how we've seen things have unfolded, and the most recent, horrific incidents across the globe perhaps still ring true, whether it's the issue with Natalie Holloway or just more recent in New Zealand. Now, how do we ensure that in the Cayman context that we still preserve and we certainly maintain a level of safety for our visitors, but also for those who live and work here? They go to the beach. It is the summer. People are out. And it's not just the people that live and work here who may present a threat, but those who visit as well. And while we ask you to consider that and have that as part of your conversation, someone shared recently the RCIPS is commissioning of some vehicles to traverse the beaches. May or may not be a bad idea, but can we do more to ensure that there's a presence not just of policing, but there's a competence in that policing, but there's also within the populace of our own people have a sense that we're not going to allow those who are here, whether they're visiting or whether they're living for the longest time or whether they're just recently taken up residence, to be unsafe on our streets and on our beaches. They don't have to worry about people coming up and trying to sell them things, or as we unfortunately hear about in the international news, being kidnapped, being assaulted, and sometimes, with horrific incidents being reported. Now, is that perhaps too far a stretch for some of us that to take one incident that is reported, or the countless ones that aren't, and interactions that could conceivably just be, a mere innocent approach, or it could be something more sinister? Where do you see that sort of perspective? 949-8037 or 949-6990. Likewise, you can send us your thoughts on our WhatsApp, 925-3261. In a bit, we get a chance to, after our news break, have a conversation to just continue to highlight some of the things that are not only very positive and productive, but increasingly the opportunities that are here in our society for our people, but at times we're not even aware that these opportunities exist. And it would be awesome for us to be able to have a chance to highlight that. So after our headline news, we're expecting an opportunity to share about a continued partnership between Cayman's Boxing Association and InStyle Cayman. So we can recently an opportunity to showcase the talent of some of our young designers, our models, and the like. I'll get a chance to talk more about that. But as you think about it, if you're not able to this weekend coming up, weekend following the weekend of the 19th of July, to make it over to the annual BRAC Surf and Turf, put it on our calendars. Maybe next year there'll be a chance for us to share, and as our families from overseas in particular come to visit us, maybe this be a part of their stopover and take in all three islands and not just laze around on Grand Cayman. 8949-8037 or 949-6990. We'll pause now, Mr. Fox. We'll take our news break. When we come back, we'll invite you to rejoin us. Let's get a chance to share with you. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Sports Extra. Tuesday night from 7 to 8 p.m. Highlights of local sports around the Cayman Islands. Sports Extra.
Attack will be.
Sports Extra.
It's amazing to see the improvement of the team.
Sports Extra. On a Tuesday. Keeping you informed.
Hi, My name is Neraya LeBlanc. I am the minister and evangelist to the West Bay Church of Christ on 24 Batabano Road. I would love to take this opportunity to invite you to experience God's family at West Bay for yourself. We are a caring congregation that strongly believes in reaching out beyond ourselves to spread the gospel of Christ. We also take great pleasure in ministering to the needs of our people in our community. As God's called out kingdom people, we are in the business of transforming lives for the Master's use. For more information, you can visit our website at westbaycichurchofchrist.org or call us at 946-9294 or 917-1809.
Declaring the word of the Lord. Cayman Islands Church of Christ presents Word of the Lord.
Word of the Lord, heard Sundays at 6:30 p.m. on Radio Cayman.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
With your headlines, I'm April Cummings. Opposition Leader the Honourable Arden McLean and Bodden Town West MLA Chris Saunders, along with Georgetown Central MLA Kenneth Bryan, are attending the 44th Annual Conference of the Caribbean Americas and Atlantic Region of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. The conference focuses on globalization and nationalism, impacts on Commonwealth parliaments. In international news, a state of emergency has been declared in an area of northern Greece after a violent storm tore through seaside resorts, killing 6 tourists. A fisherman who had been missing was also found dead today, taking the death toll to 7. Tropical Storm Barry forms off the coast of Louisiana and threatens to blow ashore as a hurricane with relatively weak winds but torrential rains that could test the flood control improvements made in New Orleans since Hurricane Katrina 14 years ago. Financier Jeffrey Epstein's lawyers are seeking bail for their client. They said today he feared a, quote, toxic political climate might cause federal prosecutors to scrap a deal he made with them over a decade ago and charge him again with sexual abuse charges involving underage girls. The lawyers recommended house arrest and electronic monitoring for Epstein as they countered what they described as a drastic demand by prosecutors that he be detained until trial on charges he engaged in sex trafficking with dozens of underage girls in Florida and New York from 2002 to 2005. Those are your headlines. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, I'm April Cummings.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
Remember to discard all fresh fruits and vegetables, meats, all foods in canisters, dented, leaking or rusting cans after they have come in contact with floodwater. Also discard foods that are stored in cardboard boxes, paper foil, cellophane, and cloth, as well as those in open containers and packages. For more post-hurricane food safety tips, visit DEH website at deh.gov.ky.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today, and thanks so much for joining us as we have an opportunity to welcome to our studio, a continued partnership between the Cayman Boxing Association and Style Cayman. And I love this place. I love the passion. I love the fact that we have all these opportunities, and too many times things that are available to our people that we don't even know exist within our country. The talent in particular. So as we get a chance to go around the table and welcome, Mr. Dwayne Ebanks, Ms. Stephanie Ford Ramon, and that in down to the presence of Coach Tristan. I'm trying to figure out today, should he be wearing a hat as a coach or as a model? We're going to decide before the day is out. Coach, good afternoon to you, man.
Good afternoon, sir.
All right, well, I can see it's the model, without question. Miss Stephanie, welcome.
Thank you.
And I'm very grateful for Tristan Regional First for helping to facilitate today's discussion as we look at, not just 2 weekends ago or one? It seemed like it was just yesterday. It was 2 already, right?
This weekend make 2.
This weekend make 2?
Mm-hmm.
And 2 plus 2 is 4, carried to 6, put another 1, divided by 2. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Someone's going, what
somewhere
did you say?
around there.
Yeah. But it just shows you how fast time moves, but also how things sometimes happen, and you come, you go, you gone, you go. Right now, in retrospect, Install came on, Ms. Stephanie, to you and Ms. Norm. We'll start first. What is it? And then as we look at the event that unfolded, and we can have a chance to share with the public so we understand the importance of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So InStyle Cayman was created to provide a platform for local creatives. And by platform, we included from artists to fashion designers, emerging fashion designers, models, makeup artists, to hairstylists, photographers, all local, and living in Cayman. And the event took place at the Ritz-Carlton June 20th and 29th, whereby we actually had an entire event for emerging designers that my partner Norma actually went into the schools and taught fashion design to. The response from the community was just absolutely overwhelming. The kids themselves from Clifton Hunter, John Gray, and Cayman International School, they themselves were literally beside themselves the Friday night. It was amazing. The support that we received from the community, from sponsors, it was just absolutely incredible. And then we shifted gears a little bit the Saturday for a full-on runway show, also at the Ritz-Carlton. And we had international designers come in. We had our celebrity host fly down. It was an amazing event again, and all in support of the Alex Panton Foundation as well. So it was an incredible event, and we're here today just to thank the community and the public on a whole for the tremendous support that was shown for InStyle Cayman.
And I think as I listen to the idea that partnership across the educational spectrum, but equally the design community, locally and internationally, is important. Now, as we bring Ms. Norman, coach from the perspective of saying boxing, because boxing is as much style as it is form, right? And the training of the boxer, whether you're going to be in the ring or whether you're going to use that to help you on the football field, maybe even in swimming, it brings a lot. Not just the physique, but the presence of mind as well. The poise, the grace, the form.
Yep, correct. I've spoken to Alpha, one of the coaches for the models, and it is absolutely fascinating to see how much of a sportsmanship or a winner's mentality or level of self-esteem you should have as a model, because it's a very challenging career to pursue. Even though InStyle came in as a fashion design and a platform for youth and that kind of stuff, doesn't have, in essence, anything to do with boxing. It's still about youth, and it's still about developing and nourishing those talents and going forward. And it's a sport. It's not something to take lightly, or let's say it's a profession, so to say. Yeah. Even myself learned a lot from the models and the model coaching and the psychological aspects of it. So,
and before I continue, Ms. Norma, your perhaps initial thoughts. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. As Tristan just said, boxing and design sort of far off, but it's not, because I remember being depressed and actually going to the boxing gym. Yeah. And I remember Tristan said to me, Miss Norma, just take out everything and that, just eat it with all you have, and being just in the gym for an hour, when you finish, it's like mentally, it helps me a lot. Yeah.
And something with Stephanie, I was thinking of earlier as we're looking at the partnerships, and we think of our youth. We want them to have, good self-esteem, good self-confidence. But equally, as they pursue careers, and even in fashion design, even in modeling, my perspective, I don't profess to have any talent in that, but just watching the international media, just hearing things, it's competitive. You're in a place where you may be lured into certain directions. You may find certain things distracting. If that person who is in Cayman, who's already perhaps at a disadvantage because they're not in New York, Milan, London or wherever, may think, well, I'm not in New York, Milan, London, wherever, so I don't have this same level of opportunity, but has greater skill. We can get them to showcase.
Absolutely. And, we have models that have actually gone down that path, starting from local fashion shows and whatnot. Alyssa Powell-Johnson, a local model, she's walked on numerous runway shows in Cayman, and she's now signed to Wilhelmina, and that just happened about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So I mean, it's definitely the potential for our youth to really, go out there and make a name for themselves. Another good model from Cayman, Aaliyah Hides, she's literally all over the place. Like, you go to the States and you walk into Sephora and it's her face that you actually see on a lot of those big name campaigns. I mean, the likes of Marc Jacobs and Valentino and things like that. So, and she's a born Caymanian. So, the potential is definitely there, and it really just takes the individual, just to want to do it. And Style is here to help you get to that end goal. We have the platform to kind of get you there. In the likes of, fashion designers, or emerging fashion designers, we want to then take them to the next level. So it doesn't just stop with us going into the schools and them showing their designs at InStyle. We want to take them international because ultimately our goal for InStyle is to show that you can have a career in the arts. So whether that be in makeup artistry or fashion design or being a model, you can very well turn that into a career. And ultimately that's what we aim to do. So, the likes of the emerging designers, there are plans to take them international. Same thing for our models. It will not just stop here. We will be looking to, shop them to, model agencies and that kind of thing as well.
Coach Tristan, if I could ask of you, and forgive me, I hope it's not to put you on the spot by any means, but as I listened to what Ms. Stephanie was sharing earlier, right here within this country, whether we can go back generations and we see the stalwarts from the seafarers and the women of the day to right now, she referenced models that if we go into the malls, we'll see their faces. But how many of us actually know who they are? How many of us actually recognize the talent, the international appeal of our people? And I want to ask of you, because I think you've managed to convey to some of us that you need to have a greater sense of pride in who you are as a people and this thing that you have here. Maybe you see it through an international experience lens. Sometimes it's easier to see things, when you're looking from one direction than it is from the direction you've always seen it. If I can maybe delve into your perspective.
Ooh, yes, you are putting me on the spot.
Well,
how shall I say this? I think my vision or my thoughts since day one that I came to the island really hasn't changed. I see Cayman Islands, specifically for the local population, as the land of the opportunity. There are so many opportunities available, and it just surprises me every single day. And if it's in my power to help anyone see those opportunities, if they don't see it yet, then I will do so. I think the boxing gym is like a living example of it. I told many people that I see it as sort of a network or a business club. I think InStyle Cayman is a result of that too, as in I met Ms. Dwayne Ebanks in the boxing gym. We had an open discussion and all of a sudden I had to do 2 events, the boxing event and InStyle Cayman. And I'm already bald, but I for sure have hair, if I still had hair. And I really have to say that I admire these 2 ladies, and including Mr. Terry Donovan, for their courage to step to the plate, take the risk, time-wise, financially-wise, but also mental-wise, to step up to the plate. And even though that we didn't have many sponsors on board in the beginning, to push through and deliver on that event. And the vision was to create a platform. Now there is a platform. And now from here you have to build further.
Right. Ms. Norma, if not, I'm going to ask Ms. Stephanie. You want to jump in? All right. Right ahead. Da, 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 da. Okay.
Stephanie, my partner Stephanie, and myself, and my friend here, Tristan, come on board for a lot of reasons. For one, to actually help our youths, like my in-style fashion emerging designers. And what the public don't know is that there is a scholarship for fashion designers. Government actually have maybe about 6 going to fashion school in England as we speak now. There was our model for previous shows, and they are now going to school in England.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't know that government gives scholarship for fashion designers.
With that, and I'm glad you brought it because I was going to ask about it, and I say this again, I'll seek guidance from the public, but I always believe that, especially in small communities and developing jurisdictions like this, we need to make sure that the credentials, I call it academics, is always there. It could be through not just a piece of paper, but by actually demonstrating that you have a competency, so that thing allows you not only to work here, but to go anywhere. And if you're going to be a plumber, electrician, or a mechanic, you're going to be, a fashion designer, an accountant, or lawyer. Yeah, you may need to get the thing from that place that satisfies you, but the thing that you take from here is such that it should just be a process, nothing difficult, in a sense, right?
Correct.
And I like that with you, Mr. I was asking from that perspective. Then we heard a scripture: "A prophet is not without honor, save his own country," and we seem to have allowed somehow our own people. And that's why I asked Tristan earlier, because it's people like you that can remind many of us who always see it. It's there, but we become so comfortable seeing it that we no longer see it for what it is. We don't see the value, respect, promote, support, encourage, nurture. The thing is right there, and it's so obvious to people who, it's everything.
It's everything. Yeah.
Well, to be honest, you're being too kind because I'm not doing anything special, but there is a lot of opportunity here, and I would like to give one small example. We had a lot of time pressure with InStyle Cayman, and yet again in the boxing gym you got a guy called Jason Campbell. His artist name is Janez, and he just released his album, and he financed that all by himself. So with InStyle we wanted to give him a platform on the prime night to do his show, but he had to work on the side too. And I had a meeting with Ms. Norma, what was it, 2 days ago?
2 days ago.
2 days ago at Café del Sol, where I always sit.
His de facto office.
That's my second office. And the reason for me to connect him with Ms. Norma, and that's where the circle comes complete again, is that if you look at his clip, his album, and specifically the song Island Pretty, it speaks of the pride that he has for his country. And he shows, he sings about the pride for his country, but he also shows the pride of his country by creating a blazer all by himself with the coat of arms and the Cayman flag on it. And that jacket is absolutely beautiful. So he had to source it outside of the country to get it done. And now we're going to try to get the frame done for via with Ms. Norma. And I'm going to try to put the Cayman Islands Boxing Association forward. Ms. Leila doesn't know it yet, so I might get in trouble. For international competitions for our athletes to wear that jacket. And that jacket, trust me, I think Mr. Frans Mendelson should wear it too.
We see, thank
it's
you.
It's an awesome thing.
It is, right? And you know what? We didn't script this. I had made some notes, and that's what I want to talk about when I was saying earlier with this idea of profit without honor and the national pride and the talent. And just prior to our discussion, we had 2 gentlemen on. We were talking about an event coming up on the BRAC, not this weekend, but next weekend. Now, for many of us, getting over to the BRAC in the Cayman, the perception is it's expensive. It's hard to get there. It isn't. But even if it is, let's address it so that it isn't. Let's make it affordable, accessible. Let's make it so that we can be accommodated and have it. Just like you were saying with the coat of arms, the national flag and the like. Increasingly, yes, we want to respect the flag, but can we be able to get it and wave it at a football match? Can we get it? It's the summer. Students are now sourcing little Caymanian trinkets, including the flags that they're going to take and put in their dorm rooms. The challenges that they're having for a sweatshirt or a windbreaker or whatever it is to keep them warm when they go to somewhere cold, it's almost next to impossible. And yet when they get it, made in China or whatever it is, right? Another part of the world is right there.
Well, to be honest, again, I don't want to steal the show, but...
no, man, it's yours, man.
Theodore Kelly Jr., he is one of the highest decorated Cayman cadets here on the island. I did only find that out like a couple of months ago, so I had to punish him for that, for not telling me.
He's humble, man.
Major Marlon Levy, Levy or Levi, I don't know how to pronounce it, Levy, invited us yet again for the second time to come and work with the Cayman cadets at the agricultural ground whilst they're doing the training. So you're talking about being proud and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Well, to be honest, those guys inspired me. They are extremely disciplined. They face their own challenges and they have the development path to go. But boy, oh boy, those boys and girls, they are very inspiring and extremely disciplined. And I think having those kind of programs on the island instills that core pride. I saw them raise the flag and I was like, that's what it's about again. And I was like, you know what? Let me see if I can get a flag for the boxing gym too, and see if I can get sponsors for it or get it myself. It doesn't really matter. And every day we raise the flag because it's a national sports association. So why not?
Why not? And you know, the National Museum has the flag. Where else is the flag? How easy? It's just this is not a rhetorical question. How easy it is to go get a flag? Can you only get one size? Can you get a small one when you get the flag? Little things that are important. This partnership, I like the networking, as you mentioned, between InStyle and boxing. It's just one part of what could be a very, very, very significant relationship. Right, Ms. Stephanie?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, like I mentioned earlier, the platform is there. We just want to embrace the local creatives and, you know, give them the spotlight.
Okay. And as we look at this whole discussion, we invite ourselves to listen, share, and contribute. The phone lines are open, 949-8037, 949-6990. Or you can call us toll free, it's there as well, 1-800-534-8255. Check in the WhatsApp. That one's a lunch order, that's a different, but you can WhatsApp it through 925-3261. Coach Tristan together with Miss Dwayne Ebanks and Miss Stephanie Ford Ramon shares with us. And as we look at the events that have unfolded and look to future events that could come as a result of things that we've done, it allows our students, that prospective student who's thinking, I wouldn't mind getting into this area. I want to explore the creative aspect. Could I maybe ask then, as parents, as teachers, and even to some extent, it's not as bad as it was before, but even as potential sponsors for scholarships and the like, are we still looking at the creatives, those who want to do fashion design or into some sort of artistic pursuit, that we can see that as not just a hobby, but as a very lucrative thing?
Absolutely.
What do you think, Ms. Norma?
Yeah, we can look at that as that's our aim anyway, to tell our young people that it can be a career and it's a very payable. That's what I do. I'm a fashion designer. I own a business, creative fashion and design in Cayman, and that's what I do. That's how I make my money. So it's a very paying job, and that's what we want our young people to know, that it don't have to be at the bank. You don't have to be a lawyer. There's a lot of things you can do out of that. Art, being an artist. For example, Georgette. Georgette, if you see the work that Georgette do, it's above and beyond. And Georgette is only 16. But then Georgette is like, where do I go from here?
I think that I hear the aspect of not just being nurtured and supported by the parent or by the school or by the prospective sponsor, but equally, sometimes we do this thing and the wider community is like, oh, why don't you get a real job? That's thankfully changing. We do this thing, but we go to the bank for money to borrow to capitalize our business, or we're now ready to buy a home. We have a challenge maybe being able to support our mortgage because of how the bank may traditionally look at mortgage financing, for argument's sake. But beyond that, then, for that artist or the creative getting established, are there avenues for that person to be nurtured and supported? If I could, just as an example, I know it's changed, but the football player who had great promise and potential was at work during the day, whether in the office or whether on the construction site. Then we have training at 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the night. You're already exhausted mentally and physically from the day. You now come to train. Now we've qualified, we've got to play. You don't have the time. It's changing, but is it changed enough? Is it changing fast enough?
I think so.
And that's when we come in.
It definitely is changing. And, InStyle was put in place to really push that change. Ultimately, our goal for InStyle is that we can actually turn it into a scholarship program and give various grants for, the study abroad and that kind of thing. So, like I said, we not only want to just create that platform, but we actually want to, let our creatives know that they can actually make a career out of their passion. And conversations that I've had with the general public since the show, it's just coming to the terms that not every kid that graduates high school is going to or has the potential to be that lawyer, surgeon, doctor, whatever. But you give them a pad and a pencil and you'll be amazed that, you'll see things that no lawyer or doctor can actually do. So we need to bank on that, and we need to encourage them to, stick with the avenues that they are passionate about and they're amazing at, and, get away from the stigma that you have to have this prestigious career in order to be of someone in society. I mean, there's artists that can sell 1 or 2 paintings a year and be very, very well off. You know what I mean? If coming from the makeup industry, like my mentor for makeup, like she'll do 2 brides a month, and that's how she lives. And she lives in Los Angeles. Like, you need to, have a decent enough income to survive in Los Angeles. But brides will pay her, $2,000-$3,000 to get their makeup done. They're going to wash it off in a few hours, but that's what gets paid to do. So it's definitely an avenue. Like the arts, there's multiple avenues that they can go within the arts. You just don't have to paint. You can be an illustrator. I mean, there's so many things. So really, that's what we're here to support, and we really just want to encourage any of the creatives. Next year, we're already kind of planning and whatnot for 2020. But any of the emerging designers or makeup artists or photographers, whatever, even from the business aspect, if you want to, intern with us and actually see how that business is actually run, there are avenues for you. There's a place for you. We encourage them to reach out to us. Anyone that's in school that wants to do fashion design, in particular, John Gray and Clifton Hunter, Norma's there, and we plan to continue that program as well. So, you only just have to have an interest. You don't even need to know how to thread a needle. Like we just need the interest and the dedication to stick with us.
I think.
Yes, please.
As I said before, these 2 ladies and Terry Donovan took a big risk. And again, I don't think we can underestimate. I don't think everybody understands how much risk that is. So I'm extremely proud of them that they made InStyle a success. But this is just the beginning. So InStyle is not only just the fashion event that has to be repeated every single year. You're talking about professionals in their area, like Terry Donovan, Miss Ford Ramon with her makeup, and Miss Norma with her designing elements. So what the next step, in example, also for InStyle is going to be is create some kind of a pathway throughout the year to enable those models, enable those designers, enable those talented youth in their profession or what it is that they want to become. And that's what our next meetings are going to be about. We have a lot of thinking and planning to do to make that happen.
Indeed. We do have a call online. Let's join our callers. Stephanie, Norman, Tristan are our guests. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you guys. Good afternoon, Dwayne.
Hey, good afternoon. How are you today?
I'm very good, thanks.
I appreciate you listening and contributing to us, man.
All right. I caught bits and pieces of the show, but, it's an area of interest of mine. As a matter of fact, I've been in the field several years. I came to the island, in the garment industry. But I have a question as it relates to young designers, young upcoming designers, and the push for an increase in strengthening that side of the arts. With the increase in online shopping, and it's so easy to go online and to order clothes. How do you balance that with the size of Cayman, the ability to really make a productive living from fashion? When you consider that, it's easy to go online and shop, and the cost as well has become so low. Back in the day, I could make a suit for $200.
Yep.
But when you think of buying the fabric at Superstitch or wherever else, you get the fabric to buy, and the cost of labor and what you need to put in the garment to produce the garment to be sold locally. How do you balance all of that and the pricing, with the ease with which one can order and get clothes on island?
Yep.
Okay. Thanks for calling.
Good question.
Yes, I just turned up my radio and listened.
All right, thank you, man.
Thank you so much for taking my call.
Appreciate you sharing it.
As a business person in the Cayman Islands, I hear every word you have said. I feel your pain. However, not because it's online means it's good quality. And you also have online clothes that is also not cheap from different designers. So it all depends on your market, who you are targeting. So if we continue to think about things making from China, oh, it's cheap, I am not going to make a bread, then that's a mindset that we all have to change as professional people. You have to aim towards your crowd, who you're selling to, and work towards your goal.
Absolutely.
Because the world changes every day in terms of online. And I'll say to my designers, stop, think about what is your value and what you can bring to the plate, and join the crowd.
Yeah. All right. Can I add something to that, Ms. Norma? I think that's a very good answer and on a very good question also, by the way. If I say that online shopping or consuming online is a trend, I'm not saying anything wrong, right? Okay. So when a trend comes, other trends will follow. So back in the days, you didn't have online. So what did you have? You have all the stores. I come from Europe, and in Europe, you have all the same shops in all the same streets. So it doesn't matter if you're in Amsterdam, in The Hague, if you are in Berlin, if you are in Prague, it doesn't matter. You can buy from all the general stores all the clothes that you can buy back home too. So everything becomes a little bit more mainstream. So it's absolutely true from an economical point of view, from a business point of view, that online is very convenient, but it's mainstream. But the new trendy word is boutique. And boutique is exclusive. It is more personal. And the biggest trend nowadays is also in the fashion industry and in the mainstream retail stores is that people are going a little bit more back to boutique. And I think Cayman, because I consider it some kind of a protective market, that Cayman has the opportunity to help these designers first and foremost, but also to entertain the local population. And the local population is growing, so the market is there. You can choose, I'm going to ship everything in, or you can broaden the choices here on the island by working with these talents and have, of course, the support of the public with it too.
All right.
So there's a job to do there, but I hope this helps a little bit with the answer too.
Indeed. Well, when we come back from our break, let's continue the discussion, and as we inspire and encourage others, we can see where we can nurture and continue to develop the talent that exists. Please stay tuned for Talk Today.
Excuse me, I noticed you from afar.
Really? Me?
Well, not you. The KFC sandwich you're eating?
Oh, Zinger.
Sorry, I'm not trying to be funny.
No, it's called the Zinger Sandwich. Crunchy, juicy, 100% chicken breast, crisp lettuce, sweet mayo on a seeded bun with a little zing. KFC's chicken is not factory breaded, frozen and refried like the Burger Boys. Customize your KFC Zinger and dip it in barbecue sauce.
Wow, now I'm starting to notice you too.
KFC, it's finger-licking good.
There are plenty of reasons to be a Logic customer. There's lightning-fast internet connectivity. There's the great overall customer experience. And now, you can improve your Wi-Fi connectivity with Logic Boost Wi-Fi for free. With Boost, you can extend your freedom to stream, game, and download seamlessly anywhere in your home, like your patio or your underground lair if you have one. Sign up now for any Logic bundle package and get free Boost Wi-Fi for a limited time. Visit logic.ky for details.
Traffic congestion is bad for your mental health, bad for your wallet, and bad for the environment. Alternative commuting habits are the solution. Cycling, walking, busing, or carpooling will help save you money, benefit your health, conserve energy, and help the environment. Do your part. Visit the Ministry Facebook page for details of plans for bicycle lanes, the latest bus schedules, and be an energy advocate.
Summertime is when Cayman Airways full of people are travel to Jamaica. If you're late for checking your flight, you will lose your seat. Remember now, check-in time for Cayman Airways flight is 2 hours before departure. Make sure you're not late.
One TradeX knows there's more than one way to invest. One TradeX is the Cayman Islands' only fully licensed online broker-dealer, offering discount trading services to individual investors and traders, hedge fund managers, and family offices. One TradeX has the most competitive online trading prices of any offshore broker worldwide, with no custody or management fees, free demonstration accounts, and no charge to open an account with a $5,000 minimum deposit. Trade stocks, options, futures, bonds, and Forex. Learn more and open your free demo account today at OneTradeX.com. OneTradeX, the Cayman Islands' #1 choice for online brokerage. OneTradeX is licensed to conduct securities investment business by the Cayman Islands Monetary Authority.
Cayman, Radio Cayman's Breeze Fusion Walk Run is back. Registrations are now open at www.caymanactive.com, or you can stop by our studios. Race day is Saturday, November 2nd, and it's bigger and better with the new 10K run for half marathon trainers, as well as the 5K walk and run. So this year's funds will go to support the Central Scranton Park and the NCVO. Registration is only $15 if registered by September 30th. And all early registrants are entered to win a Cayman Airways voucher. Yeah, the Breeze Fusion 5K, 10K walk run Saturday, November 2nd. Don't delay, register today.
Stay up to date with the latest in healthy living and fitness trends every Saturday morning at 9:30 and Wednesday at 7 p.m. for the health of it with Tara Bush.
Most clinics in the United States, they kind of like one surgery fits all. You're saying, that's not necessary. That's not going to be the case with me. And that's good to hear.
For the health of it is proudly brought to you by GNC. Join the GNC community and take advantage of their discount days, the first 7 business days of every month and every Wednesday. GNC. Believe in the power of nutrition.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. In the studio, as we continue talking about the phenomenal talent and opportunity that exists within this country. It's amazing, and hopefully we as a people will appreciate, respect, and do our very best to not just support but to promote it. In the studio with Steph DeFord Ramon, together with Dwayne Ebanks and Coach Tristan. Boxing, I always think it's not just because of Muhammad Ali, but there's a grace. It's powerful, but it's inspiring. They model who goes on the runway, and whether it's the latest designer, or as an emerging designer, the way that piece is presented, I think, has a lot to do with the particular model, the attitude, the flair, the elegance. It's not for me, but man, I can appreciate it when I see it. Right, Miss Stephanie?
Absolutely. I think the actual kid models were who stole the show on Saturday. I mean, we had as young as 4 years old, straight up to our adult models, and the kids, they dominated the runway. It was amazing to see. And, hopefully in a few years they're who we're training for InStyle. But yeah, it starts with the passion. It starts with the interest. We definitely want to encourage the youth that are interested in the arts. InStyle is here to support them, promote them, and really just take things to the next level.
Tell us though, I mean, the event itself, I know we talked about it earlier, and the evening, I've had a couple of people just share different things, and they've come be all positive, and for some, they found out about it in their minds last minute, but that's us. We don't pay attention to things that are being talked about, and sadly, sometimes so much goes on one weekend, and then another weekend, there's not as much thing, so, but hey, it's a developing society. It was a phenomenal event from what I've heard, man. Sorry I missed it. Thanks for the opportunity to attend if I could have, but I had to work, Miss Norma. But it was a phenomenal evening, and it was on par with what you would see in the big international sort of centers.
Yeah, and I mean, that was our aim. That was deliberate, just to shake things up a little bit and really just show the community what potential we have here, from decor to the designs to the models themselves. We brought in international coaches to train the models. So we really just wanted to step things up a notch, and why not? Why can we not be on par with New York and London and Milan's Fashion Week? We definitely can. Hopefully next year we have some even bigger name designers and whatnot that will come on board. The interest is definitely there. As small as we started out this year, it made a massive impact, both locally and internationally. The response has been absolutely overwhelming. I believe Norma woke up the next morning to almost 200 WhatsApp messages or whatnot. So, and the international response, we didn't have tons of bloggers and influencers that came down, but the few that came, they definitely had more than enough things to say, and just based off of the social media responses and responses altogether. I mean, I have emails coming in from big name designers that I'm almost like intimidated to have a conversation with, but it quickly caught sight of the international media and fashion industry on a whole. So we're absolutely pleased with that, and we couldn't have asked for a better turnout.
If something I could ask, and I'm not going to ask you to share anything that is sort of state secret, as it were, anything that you're still working on, but I keep asking us as a people to leverage, not just monetize, but to leverage what we have, but to do so in a respectable way. There's a consistent messaging across all platforms, so that there's Cayman Inc., as it were. And as much as I will not on a personal level, and I don't think anybody can twist my arm otherwise, on a personal level, want to be part of social media and have my personal stuff out there in a more than it already is, it is a platform to be leveraged, and you were referencing social media. If we could see, the influencers, recognizing your terms, the bloggers and the like, even in our local populace, who serve and use that as a way to share the messaging internationally, so that the tourism promotion, the marketing of the jurisdiction is in tandem with a concerted voice, with a consistent messaging. So when you see our colors of our flag, it's consistent. When our sports teams travel, it's consistent. When our politicians travel, our business executives travel, it's consistent messaging, because we're always serving as ambassadors, good or bad. Whether the U.S. president tweets against us and we're being recalled, but we're always ambassadors, political or otherwise. So, Ms. Stephen, from that perspective, you look at the the social media aspect of it. You look at the designers that you said, as great as you are, because these are high-profile, well-established, respected international names. We feel intimidated, naturally, right? Until we become experienced and exposed in ourselves, become so entrenched in it that we too are seen in the same light. What is it? When we go into the land, they look at us, giants in our own eyes. We need to move beyond that. Right, Mr. Orangeshield? You see that even in the Devil's Quote scripture. No, but you follow me?
Absolutely. And for us, it's not about, money to be made or profits and that kind of thing. Norma will tell you they literally had to call my name a few times just to show my face at the event. It's just not about that for us. It's not about, kind of being out there and being in the spotlight. And InStyle was started solely to promote the youth and working in conjunction with the Alex Panton Foundation. It definitely gave me a whole new perspective on just what our young people are capable of. I mean, the passion that's there, it's just it's overwhelming. And kind of seeing where they started out and what was presented to us on the Friday night was just oceans in between. It was amazing. I can't say that enough. The talent, the teachers, the support, I mean, everything, everyone just kind of came together and really just put their best foot forward, and we couldn't have asked for a better event. So again, just in support with our emerging designers and kind of what we want to see for them in the future. That's what InStyle is going to strive on, just really taking things to the next level.
All right, well, we'll have Coach Tristan, we have Miss Norma, excuse me, and we have Miss Stephanie. That'll happen to me this week, man. I think I need to be in the gym a little bit more. We have a listener online sent through a message on our WhatsApp, commending this partnership and sharing that it is, but is asking, and I sort of messaged back to say, well, am I misunderstanding what you're asking? I was asking, in our schools, the way we look at our class schedules, the child who wants to do, say, fashion design, but also is into accounting, seemingly, now I don't know this, and the person says, not trying to create problems, but seemingly there's a conflict. Now, I respect time management and you can't have everything, but you can't do both.
You can.
The schedules
you actually can.
You can.
So I was going to ask you to explain. No. So when I messaged the person back, the response is that so many times it's the traditional, either you do the arts or the sciences and you can't do both. So the question is it possible for that child who is artistic and creative but also may want to do the business subjects, the sciences, is the class curriculum schedule allowing and accommodating for that?
Well, okay, no. And that's
so you can't.
You can do both.
Okay.
You don't have to. Okay, for example, you're doing accounting school.
Okay, draw a little closer or pull the mic a little closer to you.
You're doing accounting school.
Pull the base.
And say fashion design is something you want to do. You can do it out of school.
Yeah.
You can find time to do that part-time.
But I mean, the program that we've...
The program that I went in, they didn't have it, but the kids find time.
Yeah, so Norma actually goes to the schools. Sewing machines, the whole lot is
okay.
I have a class. I teach sewing at creative fashion and design.
Okay, yeah, and that's that sort of extracurricular now. Final break when we come back, and I see what this person messaged back. But I think I hear what you're sharing. I see this thing, and maybe I didn't... Hopefully I didn't miscommunicate it or misinterpret. But I believe what it's sharing is that how do we make sure that initial days we give as much of an opportunity. It's like in the sports, you do track and field or football. You're not going to do both, but yet you need to be able to run for both, right?
Yeah.
One short example before we go to the break.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Last 2 weeks ago in fight night number 5, Ellie Marble and Granite fight night number 5, Hepzibah Angel made her debut. I didn't know Hepzibah very well, only like a year or so. But I think she is a very good example of what determination can bring. She trained hard for boxing. She's an extremely good steel player or artist. she is studying, and she has many other activities going on for her also.
Mhm.
Some way, somehow, I don't know how she does it. I think I'm going to update my time management course with her and use her advice to help me manage my time a little bit better, because that woman can do miracles.
Yeah.
So it is possible. How old
is.
is she? About 23 or something? 20?
No, I think she's not even that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But time management, but equally the opportunities that we are putting in place for students to have to select.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I'm a living example of that as well. Like, my 9 to 5 is finance, and I find time to meet with clients and do makeup on weekends and, whenever I can.
Yeah.
I consider both of them to be my career. Makeup has taken me all over, and it has given me a lot of amazing opportunities, to work the runways of New York Fashion Week and do international media publications, that type of thing. And I have, been very grateful as well to have the opportunities to work in finance in Cayman. So in addition to that, I'm wife and mother and everything else. So it is hard, but
it's hard.
Like I said earlier, all you need is that interest. Once you have that interest, like.
Indeed. All right. When we come back from the break, let's proceed off. Allow me to take a quick pause there. See when Miss Susan's away, the cats will play. Let's just do that. When we come back, more talk today.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Do you have a customer shutoff valve installed? The customer shutoff valve enables you to turn off the water between the meter and your property. In the event that you have to evacuate your property, turning off the valve can prevent unexpectedly high water bills and property damage should a leak occur in your property's plumbing. For more useful hurricane preparedness tips, visit the Water Authority's website at www.waterauthority.ky or follow us on social media.
Some of us have perfect skin, and some of us have trouble with acne, age spots, and sun-damaged skin. Protect your skin, reduce the effects of sun damage, and restore a healthy, glowing look with dermatology treatment at Beyond Basics Medical Day Spa. General, cosmetic, and surgical dermatologist services by Dr. Geronimo Jones include treatment of acne, keloids, eczema, hair and nail disorders, and skin complications from chronic sun damage. Dermatology treatments are covered by most insurance providers. Book your consult with Dr. Geronimo Jones at Beyond Basics today. Call 945-2737.
Hi, this is Bob Kingsley, and this weekend,
the Bob Kingsley Top 40 Countdown is brought to you by Merengue Town. Liven up your weekends and let loose with the grooves of Merengue Town. It's time. Feel the rhythm. Time to feel the vibes. It's time for Merengue Town.
and of course the rest of the 40 hottest hit makers on the radio this weekend, right here on the Country Top 40.
Headlines.
With the latest headlines.
All
the news when you want it. Tune in to Radio Cayman for hourly headlines of the day's top stories.
One of Cayman's bright and shining young stars.
Local, regional, international.
Turning to international news.
Updates on the hour between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekdays. Radio Cayman News.
Headlines.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program. Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thanks for joining us in the studio. Miss Stephanie Ford-Ramon, Miss Norma Ebanks, and Coach Tristan. Coach, should I even attempt and have you respectful, try to say your name? Westenhagen? Westenhagen?
Almost.
Oh, Westenhagen.
Westenhagen.
You see, I will get it. Westenhagen.
And the funny thing is that I'm born and raised in the Netherlands, but my roots, my parents are born in Suriname. But Suriname has a very rich culture blend and a former colonial tie with, of course, the Netherlands. So my last name is actually a German name. It's from some kind of a German doctor or something that was installed in Suriname, and then some stuff happened, and then all of a sudden my parents were there and I was there.
Yeah,
so
your parents didn't tell you what? I mean, who's your doctor?
They never told me. They never told me.
So based in Hagen.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, as you draw closer to the mic and share with us, and I say that Suriname is still part of that island flair and flavor, and
small community.
Yeah, and being in the Cayman now, I love to travel. I live vicariously when my father talk about his like the fathers of his day. They travel the world. You get the stories. So maybe it's in us, Miss Stephanie.
Mm-hmm.
It's in our young people that sense of adventure and accomplishment, that sense of pride and passion, that desire to achieve and to want to explore. Right, Miss Stephanie?
Absolutely.
She's got it, man. But in the few minutes that are closed, and certainly, hopefully, this would not be, the last time. Maybe we'll have multiple conversations going forward as we coach our parents in nurturing our children to look at, areas they can do, the creatives, and as well as they can be the lawyers, the economists, and the doctors and the like. But even as a community, if the child wants to pursue the arts, how do we nurture and support them? So, any sort of parting thoughts as we look at the last 3 to 4 minutes of our afternoon? Start with Miss Norma first, because in you can see the creative.
Well, in the future to come, to be announced, we're going to do some workshops, and the workshop will actually help everybody to see more into what we're about with our youth.
Yeah, and sorry, as we mentioned earlier as well, it doesn't just stop here. We definitely want our creatives to get that international exposure. So,
because right now the emerged designers is invited to summer season BVI, and they're out now looking sponsorship to go to BVI within the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, and we also have opportunities for models to go to New York in September for New York Fashion Week. So it's definitely opportunities that are there. It's not just an event, and we don't want the public to see In Style as just an event. We want it to actually see In Style as opportunities for our local youth, and just almost like a safe place for them to bring all of their creatives and all of their ideas and literally just offload that on us, and we'll help navigate that to their end goal. So yeah, like Norma said, there's workshops that are being put in place, and various elements of taking design and our models off our shores, so that the international market and industry on a whole can actually see what we have here in Cayman.
We have a lot. You just need to harness it, nurture it.
I agree.
Encourage it and inspire it, and coach from that perspective. You see the boxing gym as that networking opportunity and bringing together many different people. We need to have an outlet. There needs to be an avenue, but we need to be willing to work together. And if the word isn't correct, I use the word leverage, but we harness our energies so that you have a particular talent, and you have a particular talent, and you have a particular talent. It's not like everybody, you get a car. It's not that kind of show. Right? But we bring it together so that it's beneficial to all of us.
Yeah.
All right. Closing thoughts. Maybe we start with Coach Tristan. Anything you want to share with us?
Before we do our closing thought, I would like to say a big thank you to one of our hosts, Mr. Richard Burton. He was the host for the Friday
night. MCs for the evening.
Yeah, and I want to say thank you.
Yeah, in addition to our the host for Saturday, Mr. Lloyd Barker as well. Both tremendous gentlemen on the island, and the support was definitely appreciated. In addition to all of our sponsors, oh my gosh, we started out, we had, a difficult time trying to get people on board. But once they did, it was just overwhelming. The support had been, almost non-existent up until that point. And once it started, let me tell you, it started. The sponsorship and support that we received from the public was just amazing. And we just a heartfelt thank you to everyone who supported us in our vision. So,
hardest part to get a log uphill, it rolls down afterwards, right? Well, it's awesome. Right, Ms. Norma?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Butch, thanks very much, man.
Thank you so much, sir.
I know, and I genuinely appreciate this opportunity, and I hope that as the public, in particular parents, because we're the ones that need to be the drivers in this thing, because that parent is also not just the parent of those children, but the children's extended families, and but that parent is also the politician and the principal in the school, the partner in the financial sector, the employee, the manager. That parent has so many other roles, but none exceeding the importance of the parent. So we nurture the children; they all nurtured. Right?
Absolutely.
All right.
And for people who need information, you can visit our website.
Yep. It's instylecayman.com, and our email info@instylecayman.com. So just reach out to us.
Or you can call 922-7676.
And Tristan treating us. All right. Thank you all very, very, very much. And to our listeners, when you come back, we'll actually join us for some open line. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman. We've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
With your latest headlines, I'm April Cummings. On Wednesday, government will present 11 bills to the LA designed to further strengthen Cayman's anti-money laundering and counter-financing of terrorism regime. There will also be 2 separate bills to handle administrative matters for the Auditor's Oversight Authority and the Cayman Islands Monetary Authority. The bills range from amendments to the Banks and Trust Companies Bill to amendments to the Mutual Funds, Insurance, and Trade and Business Licensing Amendment bills. We'll have more tonight at 6. In international headlines, an early rally on Wall Street sent the Dow Jones Industrial Average above 27,000 for the first time, but lost much of its momentum this afternoon. The S&P 500 edged lower, erasing the gains that had briefly propelled the benchmark index above 3,000 for the second day in a row. The Nasdaq Composite also turned red, pulling below its record-closing high from a day earlier. Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards says authorities do not expect the Mississippi River to overflow levees as Tropical Storm Barry moves toward the Gulf Coast. At a news conference today, the governor said that high water forecasts for the river have gone down slightly, but a change in the storm's direction or intensity could renew the possibility of the levees being topped by a river already swollen by heavy rains and snowmelt. Forecasters say Barry could hit Louisiana as a weak hurricane over the weekend. A nationwide immigration enforcement operation targeting people who are in the United States illegally is expected to begin this weekend after it was postponed last month by President Donald Trump. That's according to 2 administration officials and immigrant activists. The operation, which has sparked outrage and concern among immigrant rights advocates, would target people with final deportation orders, including families whose immigration cases were fast-tracked by judges in 10 major cities, including Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, and Miami. Those are your headlines. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, I'm April Cummings.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music, and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
.9 Radio Cayman helps you to weather the storm during this hurricane season.
One of the most crucial elements of hurricane preparedness is storm awareness. During the season, it is of utmost importance to pay attention to the latest local weather forecasts, as hurricanes do not suddenly form or strike. There are various methods of advanced notification. Utilizing such may be the difference between a favorable outcome and disaster. Both television and radio serve as excellent mediums with up-to-the-minute storm path information in the wake of a hurricane. Another method of tracking a hurricane may be only arm's length away. Your smartphone or tablet can be your most valuable tool before, during, and after a storm, providing countless numbers of apps with crucial hurricane information. Many apps allow you to track storms with moving radar and satellite imagery, plus offer alerts, current conditions, forecasts, advisories, and even video.
This hurricane preparedness tip was brought to you by your community radio station, Radio Cayman, 89.9 FM.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. It's numbers from open line 949-8037, 949-6990. And as you're, sitting and listening, maybe you have an opportunity to pay closer attention sometimes than others. But thank you so much for when you do and when you're able to share with us. For me, just today alone, just reminds us that we have so much in our society that is beneficial. So many opportunities that sometimes we're not even aware that they exist. And sometimes, whether we're the teacher, the career, advisor, the guidance counselor, whatever the term that may be ascribed to the post, or whether we're the parent, what are we doing in order to make sure that our children are able to see that they have so much to them? Sadly, we say, generation today has it so much easier. Probably they do. But what if they have it actually harder? Because there's so much coming at them, they don't really know, how to properly disseminate the information, how to analyze it. And equally, it's not just the young person, the student, but what about that individual who is in that working environment, that career? May be happy, may not be as happy as the person could be, but maybe also while enjoying the lucrative, rewarding, successful career, maybe has another passion, another interest. Is it possible to pursue that while simultaneously continuing in that occupation, that career? Could one be sort of ramped up while the other is somewhat curtailed? Could the person just decide, I've had enough of doing this thing and I want to get into this other thing? Maybe it's the culinary arts. Maybe it's in some of the creative aspect. Is there a supporting networking mechanism that would allow that transition? Sometimes it's not as easy as we think it should be. Sometimes it's not as hard as we make it to be. But what is your thought on any topic that you wish to share? 949-8037 or 949-6990. If I could, though, not necessarily to come off the positive nature, but to highlight something that is, unfortunately, a very negative occurrence in our society. And maybe as we talk about that, we could see and find a solution as to how we can make it better. I had the opportunity earlier to travel across a couple of districts, specifically to, I don't know how you would say it, to witness certain things. And it was not just discouraging and disheartening, but it was, as the fellow, sort of coming with me, said, frustrating. You look and you see not just young men, but he said increasingly a number of young women as well. Now, he did share that because of the ongoing cleanup campaign and a nice program, now you won't see as many. But he showed some photos of last week and the week before and the week before and the week before. And we had done something similar some months back. So he shared that there isn't this sort of congregation of people in the traditional areas at 10, 11, 12 o'clock in the day, as it has been in the past. But in this evening, after a certain hour, it'll be again. And he was concerned, A, how many of these individuals have some sort of substance abuse problem. B, how many of them are able to get help, are being helped, are aware that help is available. And he's also questioning to what extent we as the wider community not just as the people who pass and turn our heads, but as family who may have become exhausted. You know what, I keep trying and it's not working, so they're adults, they have to, live in the bed they've made. And his concern, he says, is that these are our people, family and friends, our neighbors. Some of them are our former co-workers, some of them are former classmates. Why is it that seemingly, his perspective is that on an annual basis, more and more of our people are out and about, during the productive hours of the day, and they seemingly are not productively engaged. Now, that's probably a polite way to put it. Some of you would say straight up, these out here up to no good, and they're hooked on some sort of, drug, whether it's alcohol or otherwise. The question is that what you're seeing? Do you have a perspective on how we can address it? Is it, as my friend was sharing earlier, is it that we as a country are no longer vested in these people? We no longer pay attention. We don't really care, because last year it may have been one person. This year it may have been 10 or maybe 100. But really, they're there, and we assign certain labels to them, the unemployable or and we even become more disparaging. But what if it was us, or even, as a friend reminds me, more so, someone that we care even more about? What would we do? What could we do? How would we do it? And I know it could be a bit of a difficult discussion for some of us for different reasons, but to have had the chance for him to share with me and to pull someone aside who he says, for them, this is a challenge for this one individual. He said he is on a very daily basis, and sometimes, almost seemingly morning to afternoon at a precipice. He says, we don't realize how difficult. Now, he gave me the scenario where this young fellow was seemingly, very maliciously introduced to the drug, whether it was as a joke by the others in the group or whether it was just to see what would happen. And that now has led to a spiraling, addictive and sometimes very, very harmful behavior. Now, how do we look at that as a society? Do we say, well, the person only consumes alcohol, so no big deal? They may be sober for weeks or months on end. They may or may not have found employment, but for kicks and enjoyment, or just because, whatever, we give them a sip of some alcoholic beverage, and then that sip turns to, a gallon or a barrel or whatever it is that's measured in, and now they're swimming constantly. How do we respond to that? And how is it that as a society we don't seem to be able to get a sufficient handle on the issue? And that's with the alcohol. What about the other drugs that come in, whether we call them designer drugs or other hard drugs? When we look at some of the other epidemics in other parts, what are we doing to make sure that we are addressing this issue? Are we leaving it for the government to do? If we say it's only for the counseling services, are we saying it's only for the sort of the National Drug Council to deal with, or it's for that ministry, it's for the health services, or is it an issue that we as a community can tackle? And is this just one more issue that, as we prioritize it, we say, well, it's important, but it's not as important as, and we list these other things. And I say that because one of his final points that he shared with me earlier, he said, is that there are so many things that are happening in our society that if we were to make a list, and he showed me a list that needed attention, from the financial and fiscal responsibility of governments to the capital projects, whether it's the airport redevelopment, whether it's the proposed port project, the issue with respect to the dump, and how we can look at upgrading that facility, whether it's our education and our health care, or health services and the costs associated with that, where they show the roads and the like. So there are many things, and as you make a list, as he shows, perhaps the Premier and his team has done, perhaps this core government does, perhaps even the UK office may send down, but he shares where are the social programs and how do they rank in priority, how do we address them. His view is that if we get those right, we educate and inform our people, we make them healthy. He said if we can address the citizen in our country who has an addiction, we can get that person back into work, and we can get the person who's in the prison out of prison and into work. Could we actually solve so many of these other issues that seem to plague us? And he shared, if we ignore it now, will it come to the whole idea that our tourists who come here, that they continue to feel safe and warm and welcome and invited? We continue to deliver a friendly, hospitable, sort of welcoming attitude that attracts investment, whether it's from those of us here or whether it's from those who come from outside. And it brings us back to full circle what we asked earlier, from that issue of the fellow on the beach who approaches the ladies as they're on the beach. Is that a simple, innocent, nothing major, or is it something more sinister? Well, as we go to the break, maybe someone would want to weigh in. 949-8037, 949-6990. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Sometimes having a middleman is not a bad thing, especially when it comes to insurance. Do you know that when it comes to cost, ease, speed, and peace of mind, insurance brokers ranked higher than when customers buy direct? So, for all your insurance needs, call Fidelity Insurance. We're the middleman you want. Call us today at 949-7822. Fidelity. We're good for you.
King Sports Center Art of Fun Summer Camp is back from July 2nd to August 2nd. Now in its 15th year, the Art of Fun Camp is ideal for kids ages 5 through 10 with activities from football, basketball, dodgeball, squash, rock climbing, arts and craft, dance, singing, and more. Your child can practice physical and social skills while having fun in a safe and secure environment. For more info, call 946-KING, like King's Sports Center on Facebook, and you can also find them on Instagram or call 946-5464. King Sports Center, providing you with all your fitness, recreation, and relaxation needs. Register before May 31st and save 10% on camp registration.
If your business is over here, but your customers are over here, adding more yellow to your business will bring you both right here. With everyone searching yellows, print, online, and mobile app, getting your business noticed is easier than ever. Book your consultation today at findyellow.com.
Did you know that in the event of a hurricane, water designated for the purposes of drinking, cooking, and bathing must be disinfected before use? Water may be disinfected either by boiling or through the use of chlorine bleach. To disinfect through boiling, simply leave the water on the fire for 1 minute after it begins to boil. To disinfect with bleach, add 3 ounces of chlorine bleach to every 1,000 gallons of water. If you are not able to smell the bleach in the water after 30 minutes, then add half of the amount of bleach that was added during the initial application. Recheck the water after 15 minutes to ensure that there is a residual bleach smell. A residual bleach smell is an indicator that the water has been properly disinfected. For more post-hurricane safety tips, visit DEH website at deh.gov.ky.
The Breeze Fusion is back Saturday, November 2nd.
Bigger and better.
Now featuring a 5K walk run and a 10K run for half marathon trainers. Join the fun and help raise funds for the Central Scranton Park and the NCVO. Save the date or register now at CaymanActive.com or at Radio Cayman Studios. Registration is only $15 if registered by September 30th. And all early registrants enter to win a Cayman Airways voucher.
The Breeze Fusion 5K, 10K walk run.
Saturday, November 2nd.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. 949-8037, 949-6990. Or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. Likewise, if you so choose, you can shout us on our toll-free line with the kind compliments of flow. 1-800-534-TALK. It's 1-800-534-8255. Now, as I was just quickly looking at what was sent by someone who shared a view that in the Cayman context, perhaps it's time, his sentiments read that it's time that we stop looking at political mandates as opposed to societal dictates. And I had to look at it again to make sure that I read it correctly. And he asked, how many of us have copies of Vision 2008? And he says, okay, that's an old document now. Is it still relevant? Can it be updated? He shares, so he spent countless hours, like so many, working on the particular aspect that he was involved in. And he's wondering, if we missed the boat then, is it possible to still revisit that document now and perhaps borrow from it? Are any of the things there relevant? Now, I confess, I don't know that I have a copy of it that is readily available to hand. Perhaps some of us do and look at frequently. But as I was reading what he shared, these societal dictates, what are those things that you think our society is demanding? Are we only concerned with the potential for profit? So if it's a developmental, consideration, and we can have another project come online, a building, a subdivision, some other kind of commercial venture, that for that period of time, maybe we're supplying the materials for it, maybe we're the contractors of record for it, perhaps we're the investors, perhaps we're the ones who will help with the sales and marketing, perhaps we'll buy and put our business there, or it'll be a potential source of income because of the use of the space. But is that the only way we're looking at leveraging and utilizing the resources here? And if so, when we do that, how sustainable is it? Now, the fellows sort of parting comments with respect to the comment relating to Vision 2008. He says, here we are now, not that far away from another general election, and having moved forward in advancing our society, our country's interests going forward. What is your view? 949-8037, 949-6990, or you can send us our WhatsApp if you so choose, 925-3261. Likewise, you can email talktoday@candw.ky or call us toll free 1-800-534-8255. Now, one other point that someone was sharing following a discussion yesterday, and again, we were very appreciative for not only the civilized, structured way in which we approach our elections and issues of that nature, where the public has an opportunity by a secret ballot to weigh in on an issue, and to have the company of Mr. Howell as supervisor of elections yesterday in the studio sharing. One comment from a listener off here was that we need to move it forward. Now we only have 20,000, but what if we have more? And it shouldn't be the number. He said as an auditor, he can test certain things much more efficient and still get an accurate sampling. Anyway, let's go to our phones. Welcome, you're on Talk Today.
Yep, Mr. Dwayne.
My friend, how are you today?
All right, man, right, yeah.
Good to hear from you again.
Man, listening, thinking about what you're talking about, these buildings. Right. But let's put a little calculation out there.
Okay,
right?
okay.
So you got two people in these rooms, right?
Uh-huh.
All right. I mean, in the hotel room. They in there for a week. Okay, so these two people spend the most $3,000 for that week, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Each one of these people weigh 150 pounds, right?
Uh-huh.
So you get in $3,000 for 300 pounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got two people. Now let's say you put the cannabis up inside that room, right? And you get at least 150 pounds out of one of those rooms, right? And you sell one of those pounds for, let's say, $1,500 to $2,000.
Mm-hmm.
How you losing out of that?
Why do you think then that we're not looking at it from your perspective?
Because the way that if you got the people, it only benefits the hotel and the government, right? But say you had the hotel or you had the room spitting out the $2,000 a pound, and you got somebody, you got Canada, or you got somewhere buying this from you, that all that money going to go, to us. Not all of it, but let's say $275 a month. And say you got 15 or 5,000 people, you still come out with 130-something thousand every month. At the end of the year, you come out with a million and change, right? And that's not including now the budget, the savings on the budget. Remember what the budget is $198 million to go after this plant. You understand?
Right.
So, who it is being fooled or being ignorant when it comes to trying to help us? And just to show you something, right? The Philippines, their senior citizen age is 55. And what hour is this?
Isn't it 65 though?
Ours is 65. Okay. So we losing definitely in all circumstances. The people come here, they pollute the place, or they come here and they try to change things to benefit or to remind them of where they come from. And our culture get forgotten or we get lost, right? And it is the ignorance. They try to say that cannabis is not part of our culture, but it is. It's when we used to how to make the rope for the wars, and we used to how to, how the bush medicine or whatever. So, tell me why I mean, I'm not asking you what you know already.
I understand, yeah.
Why so much ignorance towards this plant? And the part that really gets to me is that when they got it on the news, it's never nothing say cannabis or anything like that. It's ganja, right? And it makes it look, or how I know they try to make it look, is that ganja is something else. Understand? Like it's something else, like it's the spice then, So I want to know, because I know why they don't say cannabis, because if they get caught arresting you for cannabis, that's against the Constitution. So they put it out there that ganja. But you do the math on that money that we gonna get, or say if we started growing our own things. It don't have to be cannabis. It don't have to be. But say we started growing our own coraloo, our own spinach, and you're reaping that every day. I mean, every 10 days, you got that for your schools. You got that for your elderly. You got that, cheaper and ready to,
Just healthy as well, huh?
Yeah, yeah, right. But why they don't do this? Why? What do you think? Because they get something for the importation fee. You understand? Somebody always tries to call in and wonders about how we going to import ganja to Cayman. I would never support unless it come in just to make oil or something like that. You can't ever do that.
Mm. It seems, though, that when it comes to even agriculture, generally speaking, that we're not sufficiently vested in it as a country. I was talking earlier about priorities and the message that came to about societal dictates. And I went back during the break to kind of look at, see if this was the same person who sent a message about the value of agriculture to the country, the notion of food security.
Yeah.
And it's a question. Someone says, I have a piece of land. On it, I can build this, whatever this is, house, an apartment, a commercial building, whatever. And it'll be X dollars and it's going to be profitable in that nature. But if I keep it, it's potentially a good piece of land to farm, to grow whatever that crop is. It's going to make a lot less. It's going to seem to take a lot more time and more effort and be a lot harder. So how do we make sure that we have the investment in agriculture, whether it's the growing of cannabis crops for medicinal and other purposes, or whether it's the plantains and the bananas and the cassava and the cocoa and whatever else,
But we know everything has a time,
Mm-hmm.
right? Everything has a season.
Right.
Right. No, there's times is that we keep on planting things in that season, things that come in for the next season. As we reaping, we got things coming for the next season. It's not hard to work with the almanac. That's not hard. And we got one island out there, Cayman Black, that's so rich and so bountiful. We wouldn't have to worry about things there. It shouldn't be worrying about the money. It should be worrying about if we got something in the pot.
Well, maybe, again, I keep looking back at thinking about priorities that came through. Maybe we don't have the priorities. And perhaps that hand at work and looking at the black economy, maybe just trying to save us from our own fallacies, where instead of it being in another concrete jungle like Grand Cayman, it's this green space that is the breadbasket, for the region, not just for the country. Just a thought.
Right. Look at what they're trying to do. They're trying to retire and go into farming.
Mm-hmm.
When they should be in here trying to educate and promote farming.
Yeah. You always put a lot on the table and cause us to think deeply. Any other thoughts you want to share with us?
No, sir. Just thank you every time, and thanks for the people here that calling in and giving their thoughts on the thing. Because if it wasn't for this radio show, I don't think nobody would know what we're actually trying to say or what we're trying to actually get across to these people in the office.
Well, I appreciate people taking time, and today when I you see it going home and you say some of the things to the people in your car or your friends, family, co-workers, but sometimes it feels as if not anybody else has any concern. And then today for the fellow to say, let's take a drive, and you drive across, like I said, we were only on Grand Cayman, and we didn't stop except one spot, and we just drove, and you see people in certain areas and you realize that these are young men primarily.
Right.
And friends would tell me, a few weeks ago it would be more here, and some of them are being employed with this program, but that's short-lived. What are we doing to make sure that, and not all of them, he said, have some substance abuse problem. They just have a challenge, because of a police record or something else.
And let you know too that the study shows that the teenage use goes down with legalization.
Yeah.
That's been proven.
Yeah.
My last thing is what Mr. Mario said there, and countless people said there, is that I don't want to see nobody smoking. And who are you? Who are you? These people it is the ones who vote for to make that law go on, this racist begun law. You understand?
All right.
Those kind of brain-dead people, rich.
All right, we can talk some more, right? Be safe, man. Enjoy the time in the kitchen. Thank you all very much. Thanks to that caller specifically for sharing his thoughts, and invite you tomorrow to come back got a few things in store for you. We'll be talking about health insurance and the like, and I'm looking forward to that discussion. I think I got my homework cut out for me. Yeah, we'll see. Tomorrow is also Friday. That means as Friday rolls around, we'll have you informed as you join in for the record. So be a part of that discussion, and stay tuned for our programming and come back with Talk Today right after the midday news. Until then, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Fidelity Bank. For all your banking needs, visit fidelitygroup.com. Fidelity, we're good for you.